Alright guys, I'm gonna show you a way that I defend the double leg, okay? So a lot of times your opponent controls your leg, okay? And then you can sprawl, you can underhook, you can go for guillotines, right? But one thing that I like to do, I like to push his arm against his body, okay? So a lot of times your opponent will be on this position right here, okay? So his head is outside, you have a nice like, hands, the hands is right behind my knee, okay, you have a nice grip right there. Of course, like, he can sometimes he's gonna lock his hand like this. When you lock the hands, it's super hard to defend, okay? I will show something else you can do, like when they lock the hands like this. So let's say like you just shoot and his hands are like this, okay? So when you get on this position here, he's gonna be standing up this leg right away because he wants to like run me like this way right here, okay? He's gonna try to stand up the other leg too, and then finish his double leg, okay? Using his head, okay? Pushing my body, and then driving my legs to the other side, okay? So when I got here, okay, I feel like if I just think about like sprawling like this, I kind of like help my opponent, okay? And I know, oh, you're crazy, don't sprawl. Yes, I don't like to sprawl, okay? So if you watch my fights or when I'm training, people shoot on my legs. I would always like try to avoid like sprawling, especially if I'm fighting a wrestler, because that's like a very common reaction and they're ready for that. Let's say if I get a sprawl here, he can touch his butt to the floor and then he can just try like putting me down like this. Kind of like force me to go to the empty spot, and then easily he's gonna turn and I'll be on bottom, okay? Well, it's like if I stiff my body, like it's easier for him to just pick me up, okay? So I relax my hips, okay? And I'm not saying that sprawling is wrong, okay? This is just a different concept, a different way to defend, okay? So I just relax my hips, okay? And what I do here, grab my legs. So he's controlling my legs. I do a C grip right here, okay? Right on his forearm, okay? I put my thumb inside and I go for the chin strap right here. Okay, I hold his chin just like that, okay? Because this will be my defense as well. I'll counter with a nice choke, okay? So a good way for my opponent to defend the chin strap is bringing his shoulder to his ear. Shrug like this. It's a little bit harder for me to find his jaw, okay? But a lot of times, most of the time in the fight, like I can find his jaw like this. And grab his chin, okay? So now what I do, instead of sprawl, I'm gonna extend his leg only, not both legs, but just this one here. And I bring his elbow against his body. Just like that, okay? So he grabs, I go like this. Try to go finish this takedown right now. Try to make the single leg. He's gonna try to make the single leg. And I keep holding this hand, this arm, so he doesn't link his hand. Of course, like sometimes he's gonna do it. He's gonna grab like the hands. He's gonna connect the hands. But my goal is to keep here as long as I can. Okay. And as I do this, now I'm gonna take advantage of the grip that I have. I'm gonna underhook his arm. Okay. So I was here. I'm just gonna bring 4 fingers inside like this. You see? I pass my hand this way. Because anyways, he's trying to reach my leg again. Try to reach the leg. I go this way, and now I cover his back with my hand, right in the middle of his back right here, okay? And now what I do, I will dive in with this knee here, the leg that's controlling. I'll dive with my knee, right between his legs, and I'll turn my body sideways, like this. Okay, so there are different reactions that your opponents can do, okay? But you need to build this wall here, because if you keep this leg on the floor, it's gonna hop over to the other side, and then you end up like losing the position. It's gonna be on side control. So you gotta maintain his head and body on the same side, okay? Just like that. All right, and then once you get here, it's a very common reaction. Your opponent is trying to face to you, he's gonna drop the hips on the floor. Yeah, like this. Drop the hips on the floor. Yeah, like that. So I end up on mount position here. Okay? And then once I mount, once I mount here, see that I have the chin strap? I'm gonna open my hand and I put my hand on my belly over my hand like this. Okay? So I use my heels to hook his butt to here, or even like hook his legs like this. Okay? Now I align my head with his neck, and then I start choking. Okay? I just grab like this to choke him out. If I keep the chin strap, I feel like a good way for me to finish the chin strap is by linking my hands like this. That makes sense for me to hold. But I can keep this underhook here. Okay? And the good thing of the underhook when you're doing the guillotine right here is it's hard for him to defend. Okay? If I go like this, he's gonna start using his hands to fight and break my grip. Okay? If I go here like this, start fighting, he's gonna start fighting. Even if I go here, he's gonna keep fighting with my hands. Okay? So when you get the underhook and you put your hand between his back, it's gonna be harder for him to fight. He can fight with this side right here, this hand. But that's the side I'm gonna dive him. You see? Now I open my hand and I put my chest over my hand, okay? Underhook, and then now, notice that my head, it's right here, and his neck is right here, right? His vertebra, or his spine. I need to align my head with his spine. It's kind of like a neck crank. It's gonna feel like a neck crank and choke at the same time. So I need to move my head this way, okay? So you shoot, I can get the underhook, okay? Or you shoot, I can go here. One, bring his elbow against his body. Shoot, underhook, now I shoot. And now I use my weight, the weight of my rib against his face. Now I hold my hand right here, look. I put my chest over my hand. And now I align my head with his neck, okay, with the back of his neck, and then I'll choke him out, okay? If you miss the guillotine, you miss the choke, but you escape from the choke, you're gonna be on top, right? And that's a good situation, good position. Okay? Again. So you gotta understand that when you hold your body like this, and his neck is right here, you just keep pushing, or pulling, sorry, this way. And you can grab your rash guard, you know, if you're wearing rash guard, you can go like this, or you grab your skin, okay, like this. But it's putting the weight of your body against the hand, it works really well, okay? This is like the guillotine that Josh likes to do, the Hingertine, right? You call it Hingertine. So this is the one that he likes to do, okay? I learned that from him. He holds like this, okay? And it's very effective. So again, you can use, let's say if you're too late to underhook, when you shoot, okay, I'm too late to underhook, I don't find the space, I push his hand like this, his elbow like this, and then underhook. And now, dive in right away, look. If I can cover his arm with this leg right here, my right leg, perfect. Because now he can fight even less with the hands. I try to grab my hand, you can't, because I cover this arm here as well. So if I can, when I mount, staple this arm and then bring his elbow against his body so he can fight. Because sometimes when you're here with the knee on this side, he can fight with your hand, okay? That's why you're gonna open your hand and put your body over the hand, try to find my hand. Now he can find my hand. It's gonna be easier for me to choke him out, okay? So we're gonna be working here, and this situation happens different scenarios, right? So a lot of times, he can be playing guard here. He's having a hard time to get underneath of me. He's gonna stand up in a nice single leg. It's up. I grab right away, and then I start going for the choke, okay? Keep her forehead and nose on the floor so you choke him out easier, okay? All right? Any question? All right, let's work. 1, 2, 3. He's gonna shoot. If I can anticipate, that'll be great, right? But like I said before, like sometimes I'm too late. I push here, his elbow against his body, and then underhook, and I can silence to get the sweep, okay, or the guillotine. So when I go for the guillotine here, I'm not going like this, okay? I'm not going like straight, okay? I don't put both shoulders on the mat at the same time. I put my right side on the floor, okay? So I'm gonna jump like this. I grab his head, I go sideways, okay? And when I go sideways, I'm gonna be prepared to do a back roll over this shoulder that I'm holding the mat. So I go here, and then if I roll, if he rolls, I just follow him rolling over this shoulder here, okay? I cannot pull guard and keep this foot on the floor, but then he can jump over me like this. He can hop over and end up on the other side, okay? So as I touch my hip on the floor, my leg goes up, my outside leg. Block, create that wall. Because let's say he doesn't roll, but he tries to jump to the other side, I block him. So he's gonna end up, jump. He's gonna end up like between my legs here, okay? And one thing that I wanna say about the guillotine, okay? Because the guillotine is a very powerful choke, okay? It's very scary when you have a really good guillotine. Because every single time your opponent will sit up, you can right away attack the neck, okay? It's very powerful. I remember like the finals of ADCC, Kron Gracie versus Otávio Souza. Man, the whole fight, like 18 minutes, both of them just hand fight, you know? And Otávio knew if he shoots, he would get caught on guillotine. And guess what happened? He shoot. He couldn't resist. The last minute, it's like, now I gotta shoot to try to do something. As he shoot, the guillotine was right there. And Kron Gracie has a really strong, powerful guillotine. And then the fight was over. Like in one move, 20 minutes of fight almost. One move, finish the fight, okay? And the guillotine, it's always like that. How many times you see like someone that's very, very good in Jiu-Jitsu, but then they fight someone that's very, very good in the guillotine, and then end up getting caught, okay? Because the guillotine is a very, I would say, you know, a lot of times when you're fighting, like you feel like you regret to shoot because you're scared about the guillotine. That happens probably before with you, right? You don't want to get caught. And if you have a very strong guillotine, you have more confidence on your stance, right? So you hear anytime your opponent shoots, you're ready, get his neck, and if you fall, you're gonna be controlling his head, okay? And if he take you down, and that's what happened in that fight, took him down, you just lock the guard and finish the fight, okay? There's two ways for you to do the guillotine. There's the head, the guillotine that you grab just the head guillotine, and there's the head and arm guillotine, okay? When you get just the head, it's very important to have this hand right here, okay? I prefer to make my opponent roll in order like to keep this guillotine here, because I feel if I change just for a head guillotine, he has both arms to fight and break your grip, okay? Both hands. So if I want to get him right here, let's say I pull guard here, and then I close the guard, and I'm on this situation here. If you change just for a head guillotine, he has more chance to defend, okay? Just if I go for like a high elbow guillotine, if I put my elbow here, that makes sense for me right now. Why I need to do a high elbow? Because if I don't, he's gonna hug my head and put his weight on my neck like this. And now I start getting choked here and I feel really uncomfortable. And then he's gonna use the other hand to fight with my fingers and break my grip and defend, okay? So if you're here in this situation, right? And you wanna attack the neck, a good choice is going with the hand over his arm and then grab the guillotine like this. Because now he can't hug your head, okay? Of course, the high elbow is the best option right here, okay? What I mean by that is, if you don't have time to underhook his arm, go this way. He's gonna shoot, I go here, look. Let's say I can't break his grip here, I feel like I'm about to fall. He's very strong, he has a very strong and powerful double leg. I go with my hand here. I grab here. And now I do the same thing. Okay, now I can choke him, or he's gonna try to turn, and then he's gonna guide me on top of him, mount, do the exact same thing that we did before. Melt it over him, and then align your head in the direction of his neck, okay? So you gotta understand that he's gonna use his hands to grab your grips to try to break the guillotine, okay? This is very basic. If I grab just the head, I need to change to a high elbow. Perez likes to do this one, right, Perez? You do this a lot. Okay, the high elbow here, all right? Because now, with the high elbow, you see like how I'm holding here? The high elbow guillotine here will help me to create a leverage to pull even more my forearm against his throat, against his neck. And now I use my armpits on top of his neck. So I do this, high elbow. This is a leverage from me over his traps to like get the guillotine. See, like I'll bite it with this part of my arm. Okay, so I squeeze and I pull this up and I bring my shoulder down, okay? Right here. So if I can grab head and arm, he has only this hand. He has only this hand to defend, okay? The other hand is covered, all right? Try to defend with the other hand. The other hand, it's hard. See, now, I do the same thing, okay? So just to understand like the difference of the guillotines, okay? If you cover the back here, I see like some of you like doing this, like trying to like toss the person to the side. I prefer to force my opponent to roll. I force his head down with my armpit really heavy on his neck, okay, on the back of his neck. And I put my right side on the floor. Force him to roll, and then mount on him here. Worst case scenario, he escapes, I'll be in a good mount position or I'll be on top of him. Okay? So what you're gonna do now, you're gonna do sometimes the head and arm guillotine, go head and arm, here, okay, guillotine, but the same concept. In the way you go down, you're not gonna pull guard, close guard, okay? Always choose first to go sideways, okay? Because sometimes you fight a really good opponent, and when you try to sit down, he's gonna hop over to the other side before you lift your leg. And then he's gonna escape, okay? So when you go sideways, you make harder for him to reach the other side, especially when you lift your leg, okay? So now, we're gonna be working like hand fight, just very light, and then he shoots. Boom, got it? Control, finish. And now, my turn. You're gonna get head and arm right now, okay? I shoot, head and arm, sideways. Mount, finish. And now my turn. So sometimes you go underhook, sometimes you go head and arm. The concept is pretty much the same. You can use your hand right here. With the head and arm, you have the option to keep like this. With the underhook, I like to go here, okay? Head and arm, I have the option to keep like this, linked, or like opening like this as well. I open my hand, and I start choking even while I'm grabbing my wrist, okay? It's very simple, very easy. It's a very good choke, okay? So everybody should know like how to do the guillotine, okay? So just gonna practice that right now, okay? Back and forth, but more like a live sparring, okay? And then we're gonna start rolling. So 1, 2, 3.